Hello guys, welcome back to Django Hub. Today we are going to learn Django Admin interface. In earlier session we learned about models and migrations, how to create database objects or models and reflect those changes in database. And also we learned about migrations. So if you missed that episode, I already shared that link in the description of this video, so kindly have a look into that. So in today's session we are going to learn Django Admin interface. So before that, we should know what is Django Admin interface. Django Admin interface provides a default admin interface which can be used to perform create, read, update and delete operations. We can call it as CRUD, C-R-U-D. It reads set of data that explain and gives information about data from the model to provide an instant interface where the user can access contents of the application. This is an inbuilt module and designed to execute admin related work to the user. So I will explain this in deep. Let's open Python, your IDE, quickly create the project and application. I already explained about these in our previous sessions. Alright. So the project directory was ready. Let's install Django. With install Django, I'm using version 3.0. So it is going to install Django 3.0 and all the respective dependencies. Alright, now the Django installation is done. We can check Django installation by pip list. It will display the installed packages. So let's create a project. Django admin start project tutorials. Great. So the root directory was created, then tutorial project is created. This is the root directory and this is Django root. So navigate to project root directory and start creating the application. Start app, and my application name is library. Alright, now the application was created here. This is the application name, and whenever you create an application you have to register that application in settings.py. So let's open settings.py and navigate to installed app section, and inside the codes open this apps.py in library, your application package. Copy this name library and .apps and library config, that is app config, and comma. Let's see. So now you created the app and you registered it. Alright, so let's working on Django admin interface. So before that we have to make sure Django installation was succeed or not. So py-manage.py run server. Alright, it is showing the server is run successfully, so click on this link. Alright, so the installation was succeeded now. Let's start working on Django admin interface. The Django admin app you will find here in settings.py installed apps. Django admin django.config.admin is enabled by default and already added into the installed apps list present in the settings.py file. So whenever you create a project, these apps by default will be added into your project. Alright, so for that we have to navigate to your tutorials, project root directory, and make migrations, and then migrate. So now it is going to create the tables that belongs to these inbuilt apps or admin interface that are going to create in SQLite database file, which we are going to use in this project. Alright, it is stating that it is succeeded. And if you want to open admin interface, so we want to know what is the directory path and what is the URL for it. So when you click on urls.py, you will find URL patterns here. Path is equal to admin/admin site URLs. So let's copy this path and go to your root of your project and /admin. Great. So it is showing the admin interface, but we haven't have the credentials to access. So how we can do that? Let's create a super user. That is manage.py create super user. Username, you can give anything, or by default it will take your machine username. So I'm giving admin, and email address as you required, company.com, and the password, though it is a testing environment, I'm giving as admin and admin. I'm pressing yes. Alright, now we created the user and the password also. Let's try to apply those credentials here, admin, and done. So this is our beautiful Django admin interface. So whenever you click users, it is going to show you the users which are enabled to access this interface. So we created the admin user, and with email admin@company.com. So this user is displayed here. If you want to create a new user, suppose you want to give access for someone else, you can click on add user and mention these details, username, password, and password confirmation, and click on save. When you observe here carefully, the users and groups comes under authentication and authorization app. This is Django default app. You will find this one here in settings.py, here in installed app section. That means that whenever you find a tab like this, authentication authorization, and the below entries, the below tables belongs to this app. So then whatever the models which we are going to create on library, so let's create some models in our application called library, and how to register those apps in admin panel. Under library you have a models.py. This is the file responsible to create the models. Those models will be reflected in a database as tables. So I already make some models to save the time. These are the models I created. So whenever you create a model or delete a model, or you make any alterations here, again you have to make migrations. Make migrations. And then migrate to make these changes reflect in database by manage.py migrate. Alright, so now these models are created in DBSQL Lite 3. We can check these models are created in DBSQL Lite or 3 by using DBSQL browser. We can download from the Google and install it. We can call it as SQLite browser. File, open database, and navigate to your project directory, project root directory, and DBSQL Lite 3. If you expand here under library, this is the app name, library underscore author. This is the table or model name. So under library we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and remaining all the tables belongs to Django inbuilt apps. Alright, so that means that the migrations which we did here, it's already affected in the database. So let's close this SQLite browser. But when you go back to your admin interface and you refresh, you haven't find your models that belongs to the package or that belongs to the application which you created library. It's not yet appeared in admin.py. So we have to register in Django admin interface so that it will appear here and you can start using it. So how we can do that? Go back to PyCharm, and under the package or under the application, whenever you create an application, under the application you have a file called admin.py. This file is going to tell how to manage your models in Django admin interface. So before registering any model in admin interface, you have to download that respective model. So what is meant by dot? Dot is referring to the same package where this admin.py resides. That means that this admin.py, the file resides in library. So inside the library we have models. That's why the dot is referring to the same package, dot models, dot models.py. Import, what is a model? You can import author. We created 3 models: author, book and category. So author, I'm importing here author, and then you have to register. How we can register? admin.site.register author. We can register other 2 models as well, that is book and category. So let's import those models as well here, book and category. Repeat the same thing to register for each model, admin.site.register, and this is for book, and copy paste again, and this is for category. Alright, so now we registered these 3 models which we created in the models.py. We created 3 models in models.py. These 3 models we registered to admin.interface. So go back to admin interface and then click on home. Yes, here you observe under library we have 3 tables. Library is your package name. This is the pure package, that's mean your application name. And under library we have 3 tables which we registered in admin.py. These are the 3 tables which we registered. That means that on the top the 2 tables are belongs to application called authentication and authorization, and the down 3 tables are belongs to the application called library. Alright, when you click on others, it will open the next page, and where you can create add author, and you can fill all the required data here, and then you can click on save. For example, I'm going to create some test data, John, and description and email john@company.com, and choose file and country, and then click save. Alright, so when you click on save, it is returning back to list display, and you will find author as John. From where it is bringing that? I mean, how it is going to list the authors with only name. You mention here the name, and it is displaying the list with a single column, that is John. That's from the models.py. Whenever you expand this model, you return string value. By using this method, you can return only one column, string or integer, whatever it could be. You can return as a name or code or description. So though you mention here if str self return self.name, it is returning this value. For instance, if you remove this, if you don't mention this method, and if you refresh this, you will find author object 1. And when we create another record as Smith and description and some date and some email, and then save, you will find author object 2. It means that whenever the records you created, it will come 1, 2, 3 as author object. So to avoid that, we mention this string str list and return self.name. That means that whenever you are listing out the authors, it will always list out with self.name. So go and refresh the page now. You will find John and Smith. Alright. So let's start using model admin objects. So go to admin.py and start working on model admin objects. So a model admin is a class, is a representation of a model in the admin interface. So let's create one class and just mention author admin, and this is admin package. Package name is called model admin. And to avoid, let's mention class, because we are not returning anything in the author admin class. So to avoid the exception error, just I mention pass. And click author, and you mention author admin. So what is this class? This class is the representation of a model in the admin interface. So it doesn't show any errors here. Okay, let's do something here. So what we can do here, instead of showing only author, only the name, we can display all the columns here. For instance, let's keep like pass to avoid the errors and click Smith. Code, name, description, join date, email and country. Why don't you display these all in the list? So we can achieve that by mentioning list display. List display is equal to, and you can mention the field names or the column names. Name, go to model, name and code we have. You can mention code. Code, name, and then we have description and join date and then email and next document, and at last is a country. So I'm going to initialize the list display by all these columns. Earlier we have only code, only name, and now I mention display the authors list with these all columns. So let's go back and refresh. Did you see now? It's displayed all code, name, description, join date, email, document and country. It means it displayed all the columns in the list. And you click on any respective row, it will display the details. Or if you want to avoid something, or if you don't want to display one of this field, we can remove from this list and then refresh it. The description is not appeared here. Alright, so what's next? So the next thing is that we can exclude something from admin interface. So what is exclude? So when you open any record here, for example, I'm going to open the record with code 11. You have some fields, right? Code, name, description, join date. I want to exclude this field from this form, description. So how we can do that? Just mention exclude is equal to, and mention this column here, exclude. So go back to your list, the list display. I'm sorry, here you should mention, must be in brackets and comma. Alright. Yes, now error is gone. Just refresh it. So when you click on now any row, you will not find a description field. Have you observed this? The code name, join date, email, document is country is there, but this field is not available. If you click on comment and refresh the page, you can see description now. So by using exclude, you can hide any field from that model. The list display is only to list out, that is when you are displaying the records in a list. So that is responsible for this format. And exclude is whenever you create a record or edit a record, for example add author, whenever you create a record you will not find that exclude field here. The exclude field description is not available here. So that is how it is going to work. Great. So next we are going to cover field sets. Set field sets to control the layout of admin, add and change pages. So layout of the admin means we are going to work on this section. This section, just make a comment here for instance and return back our previous form. Yeah, have you seen here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fields we have. 7 elements or 7 fields we have, and 7 fields under one section. So why don't you divide into these two sections? For example, the basic section and the down is advanced section. For instance, when you are collecting the data from the user, we can divide the basic section, that is which is mandatory information you have to collect from the end user, and the down is advanced, that is optional information. Even though the client is not going to enter that information, still he is able to save that record. So let's divide these fields into two sections. So how we can do that? Go back to here, and here define field sets. FIELD field sets. Field sets is equal to the first field set. We are defining none. We are not naming anything. And let's open and fields. Which fields we are going to mention in the first section? Fields, and I'm going to mention here code, which are required fields or mandate fields, code, name, and join date, and email. That's it. I have mentioned code, name, join date, and email under one section, and in another section I'm giving the name as advanced options. And inside the tuple I'm going to mention some properties, for example classes. So which class? I mean the class is going to tell the behavior of this section. So the classes I mentioned collapse, so LLA PSC collapse, comma, and then we have to mention the fields by fields. The optional fields we are going to mention here. What is this description, and then document, and then country. And press Ctrl Alt L to avoid these underline exceptions, because to maintain the indent just press Ctrl Alt L. The Django will maintain the indent automatically. Alright, so now we divide this complete field sets into two sections. Section 1 has a mandate fields, and section 2 we name it as the advanced options, which are non-mandate or optional fields. So let's go back to others and click add other. Have you seen on the top section you find code, name, join date, email, which are mandate? How you are saying that these are mandate? So go back to your models.py. Here you mention null is equal to false, blank is equal to false. So whenever you mention null is equal to false, blank is equal to false, means you are not allowing the user to enter blank values. So the fields which has null and blank false we should consider as a mandate, and where blank and null are true, those fields you can mention it as a optional, or if you have a default value like this, those fields we can mention as a optionals. Regarding these different field types and different arguments, I already explained in my previous session, so kindly have a look into that. I shared that link in the description of this video. Alright, so in admin.py we divide into two sections. Section 1 is mandate fields, code, name, join date, email, that is section 1, and advanced options. Have you seen show? So we have mentioned the property here, classes is collapse. So what it is going to, when you click on show, it is going collapsing. Have you seen? Description, document, and country. Description, document, and country. These three options we mentioned in the option number 2. So this is how it is going to work. You can save, or for example I can hide this and you can mention any record, or you can say that Anthony and many mention and at any email company.com, and if you want you can expand. Any description you have you can mention, document if you have mentioned, if not you can click simply save. Still able to save the record. Or if you want to edit, when you click on existed record, it's still showing in the same format which we set here in the field sets in the two different sections. The two different sections is here, and advanced options you have to click show, and then you have to edit or anything and save. So that is how it is going to work the field sets. Or if you want to remove the class property, the behavior class property, for instance, when you click on this link, you're going to find two sections, the primary section and down advanced section, which is already collapsed. So if you want to expand by default, you can remove this entry here. Just remove it and then go back and refresh this page. Have you seen? It's expanded automatically. So if you want to collapse, just keep this entry and refresh. Now it's collapsed. Alright, so next we are going to discuss about list display links. So what is list display links? So this is a list, right? We already mentioned this list property here, which columns are going to display. Then what about the links? The links are useful to edit a record. For example, on the code, this column, you have a hyperlink on each record. So you can click on that hyperlink to edit or to do some alterations. So why don't you add this hyperlink to the remaining columns or another column? As of now it's mentioned only for one column. So I want to add it to name and description or join date and some other additional columns as well. So how we can achieve that? Go back to admin.py. Under the field sets, let's mention list display links. For instance, if you make none, it means that we are not going to mention any column. Just refresh. And have you seen the hyperlinks is gone on the code column. So let's add some columns here. So I want to enable for code and name and on join date as well. Ctrl Alt L. I enable for 3 columns. I enable the list display links and then go back and refresh. Great. Now it's enabled, the hyperlinks is enabled from code column, the name and the join date, and the description and other columns is not enabled. So we enabled the list display links for 3 columns here by mentioning the property list display links. So this is how we are going to enable list display links. And next we are going to discuss about another feature called model admin list filter. So what is this and how we can achieve that? For example, on this list we have thousands of records and we want to filter by typing some code or name or some value that belongs to any column. So we have to add a filter here. So how we can do that? Go back to admin.py. Under the list display links, just mention list and filter. So here I want to mention one column, for example, code. Go back here and refresh. Have you seen here filter by code all 11, 12, 13. So when you click on 11, it is going to display only 11. When you click on 14, it is going to display only that record. Or press all, it will bring all the records. So this is how it is going to work, the filter. We can also add filters on 2 columns. For example, as of now, the filter is enabled only on the code. So we can add another column like name. So go back to your admin.py and in list filter, add the column name. Ctrl Alt L to maintain the indent automatically. And then refresh. That's it. So now you enabled filters on 2 columns by name and by code. You can click on the name, it will filter the respective record. All it will bring all. But we can filter these records by a search field. So how we can add a search field here? So go back to admin.py and here search fields is equal to, we can mention, for example, I'm going to search by code and Ctrl L and then refresh. You will find on the top a search. So here I enabled code. So if I type searching by entering any of the code here, 14, enter, it display only 14, or 1, it will display only 1, or 11, display only 11. We can enable this search for multiple columns as well. Just after the code, mention the other column called name. Ctrl Alt L. so that this underlined exceptions will be gone. Refresh. Here first I will try with code, it's working, and then I deleted, and then let's search something Smith, SMI. Have you seen? It's working. So the search is working fine. So we can add, if you want to add other columns like email or country, you can do that. So that is how the search fields is going to work. So what next? Next we have to discuss about the register decorator. What is register decorator? Instead of using this separately, that adding the model, registering the model and admin class, so we can directly define here on the top of this admin class, just add admin dot register, and you can define here the model author. So we can delete this entry. So admin dot register author, the model name is author, we are registering an admin interface, and then the admin class. To customize the behavior of this admin, we mention these properties here. So let's go back and check this has changed anything or not. Refresh. Great, it is same, no any changes. So this is how we have to use admin register decorator. Alright, so the next we are going to work on ordering. What is meant by ordering? As we know, we have ordering by code, by name, or by date. The date means it will come in ascending to descending. On code means it is come from low to high, even name also from A to Z. So we can achieve that just by typing ordering is equal to and mention the field value. For example, I am taking code. I want to list all the records of author table by code. Ordering by code. Let's open the admin interface and check how the ordering is going to affect. So go back to admin interface. So before refreshing it, check the code sequence. It is not in a sequential way, but we mention here ordering. So let's refresh the page. Oh, that's great. Now see, the code is in a sequential way from 11, 12, 14 because we mention ordering as a code. We can define other column as well. For example, name. Go back and refresh. Now the name will be in a sequential from A to Z sequence, A.S. Smith. So that is how the ordering is going to work. So what's next? Read only field. What is read only field? We already know. It means that we are not allowing the end user to enter any value in this field. For example, read only field, I am giving here the country. So copy country and paste here, comma, and make sure the C is capital here, because the country in the models.py I used country with C as a capital. So whenever you use the objects or models in Django applications, it should be case sensitive. So keep that in your mind. Or for your best practices, whenever you create a model, it's better to mention all the field names or the column names with small letters. Alright, now I mentioned read only fields country. Let's go back to admin interface and check how it is going to affect. Refresh. Let's create a new record, add author. Go back, advanced options, show. Have you seen here the country? We are not allowed to edit or change this value because we mentioned read only is equal to country. For instance, remove this entry and refresh and expand advanced options. Have you seen now it's allowing us to choose or pick the value from the list. So that is how it is going to work. Read only fields, it will not allow end user to change or insert or value in the respective field. Or even in edit also, when you go back and if you want to edit existing records, click on any record, advanced options show. Have you seen here? Even for existing records also it is not allowing to edit the value. So whenever you want to edit or create a new record, the read only fields will affect to the respective column. Alright, so the next is autocomplete. So let's work on autocomplete. So what is autocomplete? For instance, go back to library app. Here we have three tables: authors, books and categories. Authors doesn't have any foreign key value, but books has a foreign key value. You can find that in models.py. For book, we have a foreign key author, models.foreign key. And also category, we have a many-to-many field to a book. Autocomplete, we generally works with foreign key field. So let's work on book. So open books, add book. Have you seen here author? It's displaying the list. Total number of authors is displaying here, but it's not much appealing, right? Tomorrow if you have hundreds and thousands of authors, a big scroll down list will appear with scrolling. That looks little messy. So what this autocomplete will do? Let's go back and do something in admin.py. Let's open a class model or admin model or admin class for book admin and admin.models admin. So what we are going to do here, let's make autocomplete fields is equal to, we should use autocomplete only for the foreign key. So for the book model, what is the foreign key? Author. So take this value and paste here. Control Alt Enter to maintain the indent automatically. And also instead of doing this, remove this and just add the decorator here. Admin dot register and the book model name. Alright, let's go back and refresh. Have you seen now something has been changed in author session, and down there is a search. For example, if I search something, it's bring the respective value. Have you seen? So tomorrow if you have hundreds and thousands of records, you can search by typing the letters Smith or any value. So earlier we don't have this. If you remove this autocomplete option, we don't have that. For example, I remove and let's make pass, because we don't mention anything here, any property. So to avoid the exception, just I mention pass and refresh. See, it's not allowing us to search. So that is how the autocomplete is beneficial when you have n number of records or foreign key referring object. We can simply search by typing the values. For instance, I'm going to books. For instance, let's create one book, 2-1, and book name is Python Basics, and author I want to search, yes, Smith, and save. Alright, so this is how it's going to work. If you see here the list, it's showing only the name field, because we mentioned the models here, it's a returning string only name. If you want to list out same like other models, for instance here for authors we list out all the column names. If you want to do same like this, we have to do same as our admin.py list display. You can repeat this step here. For instance, list display here, list display is equal to, we can mention the columns, for example code and name, and what is the other field in the books? Author. We can mention author as well. So let's go back and refresh. Yes, see now, Smith, author, and name, basic, Python basics, and the code. Here if you want to observe, code and name are general fields, it's not referring fields, but author is a referring field. So it is going back to the foreign key referring table and bringing the respective value. In the author table, it is bringing the respective value as a Smith. How? Because we mention the referring object has to return with a self.name, that is string self.name. It means that if any other table is referring to author, that will bring self.name. not ID or not primary key or not any other column. Whatever you mention here, that value will be displayed as a referring object. Alright, so at last, for instance, if you want to change this admin URL due to security concerns or whatever it could be, because when this project is in deployment, I strongly don't recommend to use simple admin URL. So we can change this URL path from project Django root project settings.py and urls.py, go back, and this is the path of your admin app site.urls. This is the path. So instead of admin, we can change to backend SSE access, for instance. So let's go and check how it is going to work. If you refresh, it doesn't work because we changed this path. So let's replace this with backend access. Yes, it's working now. So this is how we can change the admin URL. Have you seen the backend access? That's it. That's all for today. And I hope you understand today's session, and in upcoming sessions we are going to deal with Django and Bootstrap. So please stay connected, and a lot of stuff is coming ahead. Please subscribe. Thank you.